good one because I'm going to talk about money today, right? We might as well talk about money. It's the elephant in the room. Everybody always wonders, how do you find all your money, for all of your deals, Stacy? So we're going to talk about that and kind of dig deep into that today. And Rebecca says, I want storage units. I like money. Yeah, we have been trying to close on a facility for this facility, we've been trying to close on it for 6 months. And we are just waiting for the wire transfer to come in from the private lender, right? So now we're like in the final stages, and there were some title issues on this deal, and like what happened on that deal is that and this, you'll see this a lot when you get into storage investing, that a lot of times the storage facilities are on 2 separate properties. And so this one was like that. It was like, it's not a big facility, it's just 50 units, but like it's on 2 separate properties. And what happened is, when the owner who had purchased the property probably around 15 years ago, when the owner had purchased that property, the attorney that closed that property did not close it properly. And what happened was the legal description was not correct. So when the owner bought the property, he only bought 1 parcel, and the facility is actually on 2 parcels. So so it's very, very important for you to check your legal descriptions when you close on your deals. All right, check them and make sure that they're correct. The attorney is supposed to know this, but sometimes the attorney just doesn't know that. But the good thing is that that's what title insurance covers, so he was protected, but so we had to go through this whole process of correcting the legal description and correcting the title and everything on the back end. And of course, what happened was the owners that he had bought that property from, so the owner that we bought it from, he has owned it for 15 years. He bought that from, actually, it was a group of like 3 or 4 people. I can't remember how many people it was. They had all partnered together to start this facility. So it's been around for probably, it was built in I think in the late 1980s is when it was built. And so the 3 or 4 guys got together and they built the storage facility together, and then they sold it to the new guy that we're buying it from. And all of the guys have died. They've all died. So that's what made it kind of like a huge, big issue, was because the attorney, because we closed in the state of Georgia, we closed with attorneys. So the attorney had kind of literally screwed up the closing and hadn't properly closed it right. And then the owners of the previous property had all died, and the property had not gone through probate properly as well too. So it was like this whole big issue that literally we got it under contract in June, and we literally were trying to close on this thing. We should be closing any day, but it's taken us 6 months. And it took them I would say at least 3 to 4 months for the property to go through probate, for the family to get notified of everything previously. And then there's like some documents that the previous family that would have inherited the property would have to sign. It was like a whole huge big fiasco mess. And so that's what the attorneys do, is they figure all that out. And they got it all cleaned up. And I think it took a good 3 to 4 months. I'm guessing like June, July, August, September. It took a good 3 to 4 months for them to figure it all out. And then it took another so then once they figured that out, then we had to reclose the whole thing, run the title, do everything. And it takes at least 30 to 60 days to close a property. If not, if you're going to if you're going to go buy a property from a bank, like a real bank. I used a private lender, so it was kind of a little bit easier, but if you go to a bank, it's taking like 90 to 120 days to close a property right now. Every once in a while, you'll get somebody that will like bust their chops and try to close it like ASAP. But most of the time, it's like a 90 to 120 day close. Now, so yeah, so it took 4 months. It took about 4 months for us to figure the issue out. And then it took another like 60 days to close on the property. And so like 6 months later, we're here now just waiting for the money from the lender to come in, and then we'll be closed. Like all the documents have been signed, everything has been signed. And actually one day what I'll do, one Monday, if Ariel is on here, she'll remind me, maybe we could do this next Monday. I'll go through the closing process of like a facility, you know, so everybody can kind of have an idea of what it's like to close on a property. But it's always like the 11th hour for some reason. Has anybody ever closed on a deal before? It's always in real estate, it's always the 11th hour, like everything goes wrong. I'm not sure why it's so difficult to close properties, but it really is. It's very stressful. And so it's been very stressful for the last 6 months. Luckily, my lender that lent me the money has been very, very patient. And so now the money's being wired and we're going to close. And that will be number 11. I think it's number 11. It's either 11 or 12. I can't remember. And then I put an offer in on another property today. I sent over the contract. So the owner of that property should be signing that contract today. And so if anybody has any money that they want, you know, they want to go in on a deal, I'm looking for some more money on another deal. And I put that one under contract. I'm putting that one under contract today, if not today, tomorrow, which I'm really, really excited about. It's in Georgia. So all my facilities are in Georgia and Florida. And so that one's going to be cool. That's going to be a good one. That's a severely, and I need private money for that one because it's a severely mismanaged property. It's very, very mismanaged. It's not making any money at all, hardly. I guess it's making a little bit of money, but it's not making that much money. So, but in the end, I love those types of properties because you can really like 3x those properties. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be worth quite a bit of money in the next couple of years. But it just takes a little elbow grease to get those going. Anyway, so what we're gonna do today is we'll talk about money and how I fund all my deals and all the different types of funding that I do, right, internally, so that you can see, so you can see how I kind of manage it, because that's one of the questions I get asked a lot is like, how in the heck do you do so many deals and find the money? Now, one of the things that I would like to say about money is it's really a mindset thing. It's really a mindset thing. I learned a long, long time ago. Luckily, I had a coach that really talked to me about money and helped me to understand money and how to raise money. And I went to a lot of like coaching programs that really helped you to raise money. But money is really a mindset thing. And what I tell myself all the time, and you guys will hear this if you decide to join Storage Nerds, but as I tell myself, I'm a money magnet. I'm a money magnet. And I've been saying that since I started this like 10 years ago when I got into real estate investing, because I also in my mind was like, how am I going to get all this money to do all these deals and stuff? But now it's really a mindset thing for me. And I just kind of tell myself all the time, I'm a money magnet. And that really, like, whether or not you believe, like, what in affirmations, essentially, whether or not you believe in affirmations, it just like what it does is it kind of triggers your mind to think that way. So I'll say something like, there's enough to go around, right? There's enough to go around. Or I'll say like, I'm a money magnet. And really when I start doubting myself, because I'm in the process right now of launching a fund, and I have no idea how to launch a fund. I have no idea what I'm doing, right? Like this is my very first fund where I'm going to raise like almost $10 million and utilize that money for storage. And in my mind too, I catch myself doubting myself. I'm thinking like, and I have no problem. I mean, I've raised like $20 million in the last like 10 years, right? So I know how to raise money. It's just like, it's a new thing for me, and it's kind of scary. And, you know, so I feel myself and I hear myself in my mind kind of doubting myself every once in a while. And so I have a trigger of like, I'm a money magnet, or everything goes right for me, or there's enough to go around, right? I kind of say these things to myself. So what I would say is, step one, when you're thinking about money and thinking about getting into this, because if you start putting yourself into this box, right? And you start thinking like, I can put 20% down, I've got $50,000, and that means I can afford a $400,000 facility, and then that's it, I'm out of money, right? So then what that means is that you're putting yourself into this box, and then you're not going to be able to get out of that box, right? That's why most storage facility owners, or most people, have one property. That's it, one property. Most people in the United States own one property, and that's it, right? So you don't want to put yourself into a box where you think the money that I have is the only money that I have to work with. Because the truth of the matter is that when you start really kind of educating yourself on how to raise money, which if you want to get into the commercial real estate world, you have to learn how to raise money. You have to learn, because commercial real estate is expensive, right? It's expensive. And there ain't nothing different between me and somebody else that's raised $100 million. There's nothing different, except for the fact that I've never done it before and I have no idea how to do it, right? But you know, it's all about education and perseverance, right? That's really what it is, education and perseverance. So money is really about education and perseverance. Educate yourself on how to raise money, and then tell yourself and keep telling yourself, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to figure it out. Now, I'm the type of person that, like, I'm not fast at anything. Like, my husband and I, we are slow. Like, it looks like we're like super fast to a lot of people because we're like closing on all these deals. But the truth of the matter is that, like, we slow. Remember, storage facility owners, and that's why I love storage investing, because it fits my personality. Now, in the way that I invest, right? Because you can get into, like, if you want to do like huge big deals, it's a different type of beast, right? But I'm talking about, that's our first deal. These are like the smaller deals. They're a couple $1 million or less, a couple $100,000, you know. And you know, and I love storage investors because we're unmotivated sellers. We're slow, and we take our time, and you know, we'll do what we want to do when we're ready, right? And that's kind of how we are. That's how me and my husband are. I mean, even when we were doing flips and stuff like this, that whole fast-paced grind, that just doesn't work well for us, right? We have to go at our pace. We have to do the things that, you know, that we want to do when we do. Also, we have a family, we have life, we travel, you know, because y'all all know that I live in an RV and we're traveling. And so, like, what I've learned over time about investing in self-storage and about like raising money, and like I've been trying to close on this fund and get this fund up and running, but it's just like there's always another thing. And now what I've learned is to just not give myself any deadlines, right? Like, I talked to somebody that wants to join Storage Nerds, and they're like, I'm going to buy 6 storage facilities next year. And I was just thinking to myself, I can barely even buy 6 storage facilities. And I've been doing this, like, you know, for years. You know, you're just getting started. You know, you should really just kind of give yourself the right to say, look, I'm on a journey. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying to educate myself, and totally doable to be able to find a storage facility within the next 90 days, which is the name of this webinar, right? If you get out there and start looking for storage, I tell you, if you're actively looking, you will find storage, right? We have 3 storage facilities under contract, not including the one that we're going to close on today, because we are out actively looking for storage. But you know, and actively looking for storage means talking to at least 10 owners a week, talking to 10 owners a week and managing the follow-up of those conversations. All right. And that's exactly what you have to do when you're raising money as well too. You're talking and talking and talking to as many people as you possibly can, and just putting yourself out there. And, you know, and I call it planting the seed, and letting people know what you're interested in, what you're doing. And that's exactly how I got started, because my first private lender that I ever found was my neighbor. And I just happened to be walking my dogs, and he was like, "Oh, I haven't seen you in a while. Where have you been?" I had just come back from like a boot camp on how to raise money. That's what I had just did. Like, and I was all pumped, and I was like, "Oh, I went to this boot camp and it was awesome." And I'm learning how to raise money because I want to go out and buy property and invest in real estate. And so I went to this boot camp to learn how to do that, to raise money. And we were just talking about it. He's like, "You know what, Stacy's like, I'm really interested in like investing in some money with you. I'd be interested in that." Like, I literally was just so excited about telling him about going to this boot camp. And he was like, "Yeah, I'll invest with you." And guess what? That was 10 years ago. He's invested millions and millions of dollars with me. And guess what? He is in the process of building his dream house from the money that he's made off of me, right? Which is awesome, which is totally awesome. And he's retiring, and he's getting his drawings done, and he's like, building his dream house. And and all I did was 10 years ago, just like take my dogs on a walk and tell him like what I was doing, what I was trying to do. And it became a wonderful, wonderful partnership. He's a life partner, and he calls me his partner as well too, because like we do so many deals together. And so talking, getting out of the box of, I only have enough money to put 20% down, and so I can only afford one facility, is that's really going to just put you into this little box, and then you're going to be just like everybody else and have one storage facility. So what we're going to do, right, is we're going to learn how to raise money. We're going to learn how to to get out there and talk to people. Just like you have to talk to owners, you have to talk to people about what you are doing. So like in Storage Nerds, and I know I've seen some students here that are here listening, like I'm always adamantly letting know, did you talk to 10 owners this week? If you have not talked to at least 10 owners, I'm not talking about calling 10 people. I'm talking about actually talking with words over the phone or over Zoom to each other, right? Not calling 10 people, talking to them and actually talking and telling them what you're looking for. I can tell you that if you talk to 10 people, you should be able to find somebody that wants to sell, right? Or interested, or hey, yeah, send me an offer or whatever, something like this. For every 50 people you'll talk to, for every 50 people that you talk to, you'll talk to a handful of people that are interested in selling. You'll make offers on all of those, and out of those you might get one deal. You know what I'm saying? But it takes actually talking to 50 people to look for it. So my question to you is, have you talked to 50 people about buying storage? And in the same respect, how many people have you actually talked to about borrowing money from them, right? So gone are the days where it's taboo to talk about money, right? And actually, people that don't understand the concept of money don't talk about money, or they complain about it, that they don't have enough, right? But the people that really understand the underlying meaning of what money can do for them, they're okay with talking about it or talking to other people about it. And so you have to get over the mindset. So the whole point of this conversation is as mindset. Mind over matter. And you got to talk to as many people that you talk to about buying facilities. You have to be talking to the same amount of people about borrowing money from them. And if you talk to 10 people a day about borrowing, 10 people a week about borrowing money from them so that you can buy more storage or partner with them or do more deals, then I'm going to tell you, you're going to find people to do it. You're going to find people to do it, right? Because that's what I do, is I just talk to as many people as I possibly can about borrowing money from them so I can raise the capital to do more deals. And so I would say for 2022, if you are truly interested in learning how to invest in commercial real estate, and in commercial real estate, for me, it's storage investing. But if you're interested in investing in commercial real estate, you have to talk to 10 people a week that want to sell their facilities, that own facilities, and then 10 people a week that you think might have some money that you can borrow from. And if you decide to come into the Storage Nerds coaching program, we talk about this heavily, but we have a brainstorming activity for all students where you sit there and you think about everybody that you know, and it gives you this kind of list of like triggers for your mind, so that you can say, oh yeah, this person, I didn't think about this person. And the way that private investing works is there's kind of like tiers, like it's a tier. Let me draw that actually. Let me draw it out. And it looks like this. Let me see. Okay. It looks like this. It's like, so for everybody that's listening and can't see, it's like 3 circles, a smaller one, a middle one, and a bigger one. And inside the smallest circle would be like your friends and family. Okay. And these, like, there's like people that are close to you that you're like, have money, or you don't know that they have money or not, right? We've gotten so comfortable with talking about money, but between our friends and family, because because I believe truly in my heart that what we do helps others, right? It's a win-win situation for all of us. Okay. And so we are very open about talking about money. We actually just had a conversation last night with my husband's family and trying to figure out, like, how to take care of them, later and stuff like this. We have very open conversations about this. And, and I get some families are different than others, but, and it's not an easy subject to talk about, but once you start really talking about it, it really kind of opens people up. So you just want to be able to just talk about money to your friends and family, right? And then outside of your friends and family sphere, right, is your like your acquaintances, right? Acquaintances, and I don't know how to spell acquaintances. Acquaintance, is that how you spell it? Acquaintances, co-workers, so this is like, arm's length away. So these are all the people that but don't really truly know, right? You know what I'm saying? So your doctors and chiropractors and mechanic and, your coworkers, your friends of friends, and if you guys think of anybody, any type of a person, like sorority friends or fraternity brothers, these kinds of people, it's like, them, but you don't truly like know them. It's not friends and family, right? That would be the second sphere. And then finally, the third sphere would be strangers. Okay. Now, guess what? Unless you've been filed with the SEC, you can't ask strangers for money. Okay. Like, that's why I'm starting a fund. It's because I want to go out to the world and I want to pitch, to people that I don't know about money, right? So that's why I have decided to start a fund. So most of us, I'm assuming everybody here on the webinar or everybody listening, is all going to have to focus on tiers 1 and 2, okay? And so what you want to do, and especially if you join Storage Nerds, and when we do the 2-day boot camp in January, we will do a brainstorming sessions where you can really truly think about who in your life has money, right? But for those of you right now that are listening, that is what you want to do. Just like I said, sit and think about every person that you can possibly know. I was going like, I remember when I was pregnant with Lillian, and I went to go to get like checked up, and I think I was probably like, I don't know if I was like 6 months pregnant, but I was kind of bigger, and I was getting my checkup. And I had a midwife is what I had. I had a midwife to help me. And so I went to go see her. And I remember she was checking me, and then she was like, asked me, like, super nice lady. And she was like, asked me all these questions, like, what do you do? This is, the typical conversations that you have, right? Like, what do you do? And like, where do you live? And, this kind of stuff, all these typical, questions, like chat or whatever. And so she asked me, like, what do you do? And I said, we own storage facilities. We invest in real estate and we own storage facilities. And she was like, oh, I always wanted to do that. I just wanted to do that. And I was like, and I basically just told her, I was like, you can do that. And she's like, how do I do that? I was like, are you busy? Are you too busy to do it? Why haven't you done it yet? And she said, yeah, we're like too busy. Like my husband and I are too busy. We're both doctors, and so we're busy. We're just too busy. We can't do that. And I was like, there's an easier way for you to do that. You know that, right? And she's like, no, what? And I was like, you should just like invest the money in somebody like me that is going to go out there and do the work for you, and you just reap the reward. I mean, honestly, the truth of the matter is all of us, we should be striving to just be lenders. Lenders are the ones that make the most money because they do nothing, hardly anything. They give the money away, and then they do nothing. You know what I'm saying? They just get money in return. My lenders, essentially, all they do is like ask me. Now I do like maybe quarterly. I do like every 4 months or so. I do a meeting with my lenders just to give them an update. But this past this past quarter, we just had our meetings with like everybody and just touch base. I have one tomorrow. And the only thing that they were worried about was getting their their tax documents so that they could put it on their tax. I mean, they were interested in what we were doing. I was telling them about their facilities they're lending on. But mostly they were like, okay, so for tax documents, because I have to claim all this money that I'm making from you, are you going to send me this tax document? So that's really all they're worried about. They just wire the money over, and then they just make all this money on their money. And then every once in a while we touch base and I let them know how we're doing. That's the best way to go. I mean, that's what my goal is. My goal is eventually to just lend, I mean, storage for me is a means to an end. All right. It's a product. That's what it is. It's just a product. Like, this is not like a life endeavor. Like, I'm not going to be, investing in self-storage forever. Like, it's a way for me to be able to hand over some money to my daughter Lillian and to travel and hang out with my family. Right. So anyway, so for everybody listening, you got to start thinking about who around you may or may not have money, and do not allow yourself to judge the people that you don't know whether or not they're going to have money. The only way that you will ever know if anybody has money is if you ask them, right? The only way you're ever going to know if anybody ever has any money is if you ask them, right? And so for me, mentally, the question is, who around you, can you list out everybody that you know in your life, everybody in your life that you know that would be classified as a friend or family, and any acquaintances and anybody that you say, okay, like, I really don't know these people, but like, I go to my chiropractor every week, and I've been going to that dang chiropractor for 4 years, every single week, or whatever it is, he's got to have some money. That practice is doing pretty good, And yeah, and then work on triggering your mind to start looking and thinking about the people that you know and who you can ask. Okay. And that's because that's going to be your first person that you invest in is going to be in one of those two spheres. The first person that you're going to work with and invest is not going to be some stranger that you don't know. All right. It's going to be like a friend of the family, a friend of a friend, etc. Okay. So that is step number one, is really thinking about who you know that may have money, listing them out and doing a brainstorming session. Number two, the second step is once you start really thinking about it and saying, you know what, I know these couple of people here, these couple of people have some money. Then the second part is going to be asking. And asking is, of course, the scariest part, but like I always say, you don't get anything unless you ask for it, right? Nobody can read your mind. Nobody knows what you're doing, right? This is why what I do personally is I do, and I'm going to show y'all on my, hopefully y'all have been to my website and y'all could see, but I have an investors page on my website. And then I lead everybody to my website. That's my one thing that I do. Like I lead everybody for everything to my website. And you guys all know this because you get my emails and stuff too. I mean, you hear me every single week, and I'm leading people to my website because I know that that's going to bring money in for me. So what I'll do is I'll share that with you as well too, but I'll do that after in just a second before I go over another way that I make money and I find money for my deals is social media. Right now, remember in tier 3, which is strangers. Okay, you cannot ask people for money. And if you see my dog, I apologize, but that's him right there. He's my old grandpa. Okay. But in tier 3, you cannot ask strangers for money. But what you can do with social media is you can utilize it to plant the seed, right? So that's the goal with private money or to raise money, is to plant the seed. And just one second. Come on. Let me put him out. Just one second. Okay, so with social media, what you need to do is you need to be posting your wins out. I'm telling you that social media is all about wins, right? People want to see how awesome you're doing, right? Nobody wants to see all the BS. They want to see all the good stuff, right? So my question to you is, when you go out and you're looking for property, right, and you're driving for storage, or you're out, or you're talking to owners, or whatever you're doing to move yourself forward to be able to find that deal, my question is, are you posting that out and letting people know about it? Okay, so you have to use social media and the power of social media. I'm telling you that social media is one of the best ways for you to plant the seed. Whether or not you you're not going to go out there and say like, oh, I'm looking for money and who's got money, right? You don't want to do that because you can't. The strangers, right? I mean, these are not like real friends and family and acquaintances. But you can post your wins. So this is why, if you follow me, right, if you're following me on social media, you'll see when I put a facility under contract, it goes on social media. When I purchase one, it goes under social media, which are givens. I mean, those are wins, right? But also every single time that I go out driving for storage, it's always going on social media, right? So it's a win for me to actually get out of this chair and get myself out there to look for storage and to do some market research. It's a win for me when I actually pick up the phone and talk to owners. Okay, it's a win for me when I actually really focus my mind and try to, analyze a deal, right? So, and those are all things that you should be posting out about and letting people know about, because what it does is it plants the seed, and it shows people what you're working on. And the truth of the matter is that you have no idea at all, no idea where you're going to get your money from for your deal. Now, as people think, the only place that I can fund a storage facility is through not social media, through a bank, right? But the truth of the matter is, I ain't never been to a bank to fund any of my deals. All right. What I do is I post out on social media, I post my wins out. And then on top of that, I lead everybody to my website, and then I talk to as many people as I possibly can about what I'm doing, right? Obviously, the webinars are here. I had a student that I just did a coaching call on just right before this, and he has a storage facility under contract in Missouri. That's where he's at, and he's going to wholesale it. That's what he wants to do, is wholesale it. And so that's what he's going to be doing. Essentially that's a win for him. So in our Storage Nerds coaching group, he posted out this win. Like, I just got this storage facility. First of all, he found the storage facility. He posted it out. Then he posted out that he got it under contract. And then after that, he posted out that he wants to wholesale the deal. There's like 3 posts on just one thing, So think about your wins, think about a win that you could be posting out, because you want to start planting those seeds. And it doesn't matter what platform you're on. All right. It doesn't matter, like, if you're on TikTok or whatever they're called, or Instagram. Okay. My platform is Facebook. That's kind of what I do, but my team kind of handles everything else for us. But we just post out, I post out whatever I can, because I want to get the word out of what I'm doing. The only way anybody's ever going to know what you're doing is by posting it out and let people know, right? Asking, posting, and then the website. And I'm going to show you the website right now. And if you have any questions, just put them into the chat. Let me see if I have anybody that had any questions, because I haven't been paying attention. It says, be your own bank, putting money into life insurance and let it compound. Use a tool for self-storage investing. That's another way too, right? You're talking about whole life. You could do whole life and save that, and then you could use that money up as well too. Yes, definitely. Let's see. What I do is I raise money. That's what I do. That's how I find money. Okay, so let me get into this website real fast as well too, which is this. Go to stacyrossetti.com. And then from there, you go to the investors page. And let me see if we can pull up here. It's kind of slow. Okay, there it goes. All right, so right here where you see investor, this is the page that I'm talking about, okay? So you guys can all check this out. Just go check it out, see what you think. And you can also just use this as like an example. Now, this page does not ask for money. This page does not ask for money. This page is a, I apologize, it's my dog, he's crying. This page is a page about educating people on what private money is. Educating people on what private money is. Okay, so you can watch this video. It's just a quick little video. It's like 2 or 3 minutes long on, like, how what private lending is and how you could work with me on that. It has a disclaimer right here. This is the disclaimer, right? What you want to always have everywhere. And then basically what we did is we just answered typical questions on, like, what is private lending? That's it. We just answered typical questions. So for instance, like, who borrows at high rates and why, right? And then it talks about, like, who handles all the details? How do I get paid? Is this a long-term investment? Right, so it goes through and answers all these. What if I need to liquidate? Here's the closing process. It's right here. And so it takes you step by step on the closing process. This little JPEG that we came up with. And then this is like, why does private lending benefit you, right? And what is, what can you make the returns on private money? And is my investment is as safe as it sounds? And then you can always click and you can set a phone call up with me. And all that is like setting up a call, setting up a phone call or setting up a Zoom call, a Zoom meeting. And we just, basically what I do is just talk to everybody and just tell them what I'm doing, really is what I'm doing. And then here's like a little video on me with one of my students and, talking about like a deal that they found and how much money they're going to make on it. And then you don't really have to have this. This is just me putting more stuff in really about myself. And then how do I use my IRAs or pension plan, right? What are my options if I don't get paid? And then here's some, however to answer the question, or these are all answers to this question here, right here. What are my options if I don't get paid? This is a really good video if you have time. It's 25 minutes and it is on how to like, what is private lending? Essentially, it's like, and you can go through and listen to it, and it explains what private lending is and how you can utilize it. And then what kind of documents you're going to need to close. And then, again, if you want to set up money and set up a phone call, you can, and then disclaimer again. Okay. So this investor page is basically educating people on what private lending is. And then if they're interested in learning more, they can set up a phone call with me. All right. They can set up a meeting with me. And that's really what it is. That's really what I use to lead everybody to. So when I'm out there and talking to people and letting them know what I'm doing, I am always telling them, go to stacyrossetti.com and then click on investor. And that is where you can, if you're interested in investing with me, you can invest with me. If you're interested in knowing more about what private lending is, you can learn more about what it is right there. And it's a great resource for people, that don't have any idea about what private lending is. And so I highly, highly recommend, like, if you truly are interested in investing in commercial real estate, and you know that in order to do the kind of deals that you want to do, you are going to have to learn how to raise money, then I highly recommend that you check out that page, right? So you can get more information on it, right? And then at least it kind of educates you on what private lending is. And then you can use that for when you're talking to people and you're letting them know what you're doing, right? So that's really the key. So like I said, it's education, right? You got to educate yourself, and you have to ask and talk to as many people as you possibly can. So personally, my goal for 2022 is to talk to as many people as I can and pitch to as many people as I possibly can about what I do so I can raise the money. I am doing it now in 3 different ways, right? 3 different ways. The one way that I told you about is private lending. Right. So, people will come to me and say like, hey, I've got some money, can we do like a deal together or whatever? And so they'll bring me the money and I'll go and find the deal and we'll do the deal together. And actually what I was going to tell you too is that there's like several different types of investors, right? And you guys can tell me which type of investor you guys are too. But I've learned this over the course of the last 10 years. There's several different types of investors. One of them is this type of investor where like they just want to lend the money and then just step away and just get like a high interest rate, right? That's like private lending. So for instance, my neighbor that I told you about, he does not want to partner on any deal. I tried to get him to partner and he was like, no, I want you to use my money and I want to get that monthly payment every single month. Right. So that is like private lending. That's like a private lender. Okay. And then there's the type that are like, hey, let's partner on a deal, let's partner. And I mean, really, it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other. See, the way that my neighbor does it is he wants to get first lien on the property. He wants that lien is what he wants. He wants that security. Okay. And there's people out there that's what they want. They want that security. And then you have people that are like, hey, let's partner on the deal and do the deal, right? And then we just like, you know, form a company together, and that company owns the property, and there's no lien, there's no guarantee at all that you're going to get that money back. All right. And there's no guarantee anyways, but essentially when you're partnering on a deal, and that's just how it is. It is what it is, right? And then finally, the third way is the fund. And the fund is for the people that are like, you know, I'd rather just put my money into a fund, and then you manage the assets, you manage everything, and I just get this payment on a quarterly basis, right? Or it doesn't have to be a fund. It could be like a syndication, like one deal. Like a lot of people you'll see, like they've got like $2 or $3 million that they're trying to raise on this like storage facility or whatever it is that they're buying, and they'll just do one deal, right? One fund. And then you get paid out on a quarterly basis. And that's the fund. So when you start really educating yourself about investing in, you know, not investing in storage, but like raising capital, you'll start noticing that there's different types of investors out there. And the way that you cater to their needs is you listen to them, right? You listen to what kind of an investor they are. And then you create this like, you know, investment program for them, right? You know, so that's basically what happened for me. Is like over the course of the last 10 years, I found people that just wanted to have a lien on the property, and that's just kind of how they wanted it. And then I also found people that wanted to partner, and that's how they wanted to do it. And then I found people that are like, no, like I just want to like put this money into a fund, and I want to be paid out on a quarterly basis or whatever, you know, and get like a big cut. And so that's kind of how we set our investment program up. And that's how we work with our investors. And every single investor that you talk to has like a different risk level, a different like amount of money that they can give. You know, they have different needs and wants. And so you can't just be like, this is my way and that's it, right? You have to like listen to them, listen to what their needs are, and then try to figure it out. Yeah, I talked to a private lender a couple of days ago, last week, like maybe Wednesday or Thursday, and he wants to invest with me, and he has like $200,000. Right. So to find a storage facility for $200,000 is difficult. I mean, for me, we want bigger ones. Some people, $200,000, you can go out and buy a storage facility. Actually, in the very beginning, that's what I did. Is you had $200,000, I'd go buy a storage facility. But now, like, we want to buy, you know, $1 million properties. So $200,000 would be the down payment for a $1 million property. And that's really kind of how we structure it. It's like, okay, you bring the down payment and I'm going to be the asset manager, and then we're going to partner that way. And and he's okay with that. And that's his style, you know. So every single person that you talk to, once you start really talking to them, you're going to learn that they all have different needs and wants. And you can't just have one way. Like, essentially, you have to be open. And that's why they call it creative deal structuring. That's really why they call it creative deal structuring, because like listening to all parties within your deal and trying to come up with a solution that makes everybody happy. That's really the creative part of it. So that's why I love raising money, and I love talking about money, because when you really start getting into it, it's fun and exciting. Okay, I saw some questions, and I apologize for Jude in the back. He's calling for his mother, but you guys, we can answer a couple questions if you have any questions about money. That's my 2 cents on raising money, right? And everybody now has their homework as well too. If you can remember what your homework is, put it into the chat, because I want to see if you're listening as well too. Okay, can you tell us what a typical deal looks like? Rate, terms, etc. As I said, every type of lender is completely different. Typically, I don't put any money into any of my deals. I am the asset manager. I'm the one that knows what I'm doing. I'm the one that is like doing all the work. right? So what we do is like, we'll have somebody fund the deal for us. And then on the back end, you know, we'll pay them some sort of a interest rate, or we'll partner and they'll get some sort of equity split. That's kind of really how it works out, you know, and I'm telling you, every deal that I've done is completely different. Like, you can't just be like, this is my rate, this is my terms. Now, when you're rehabbing homes, like, you can do that, right? On the residential side, you can do that, but on the commercial side, you can't do that. Okay. So, you have to be a little bit more creative. Okay, good. Okay, so anybody posted out? Okay, anybody posted out about your homework? Your homework is that you need to be talking to, for 2022. Your homework is to talk to 10 owners a week and 10 people that you think have money or may have money. You have no idea whether or not they have money, but you're asking people for money. You know, that are all within your first two spheres, right? And I'm going to tell you, once you start brainstorming who those people are, you're going to have a list of like 100 people, right? 100 people, at least minimum, right? And you could start asking. And that's what I did. I just talked to everybody that I knew until I found some people that wanted to give me money, really, you know? Okay, good. Any other final questions, any thoughts or anything else about money that you would like to know about? All right, for 2022, because I know this is going to be a good goal for everybody. Get out there and raise some money. My goal is to raise $1 million in 2022. My goal is to raise, you know, $200,000 or $500,000 or whatever you think, you know, be reasonable. If it's your first deal. And then, so my goal for next year, for 2022, is to raise $10 million. That's my goal, $10 million. Okay, that's how big our fund is. So that's why I'm thinking about this, because this is personally what I'm thinking about for 2022. So I figured I'd talk about money a little bit. All right, I appreciate it. I am going to let y'all go because my dog is crying, and so I'm going to go take care of him. And I wish you guys the best for the new year. Happy New Year. And for everybody listening on through the podcast, I appreciate it. Thank you for staying in and listening as well too. Okay. All right. Take care, and I will see you guys soon.